Peace! 行くぞ!
Monkey D. Luffy, the 5th Emperor, a new legend. A GOKOU, not a YONKOU. Hi everyone, Flying Panda. One Piece 903 is the best chapter of the year for the last 2 years. News of the events between Luffy and Big Mom were published in the World Economic Journal, which claimed the incident as Luffy's victory and declared him to be the 5th Emperor. In addition to this, a new wanted poster was distributed, raising Luffy's bounty to 1,500,000,000 berry. All 4 of the Yonko read the newspaper and commented on Luffy. Yay, I predicted it correctly, check out that video. Morgans has the power to influence the media, but could it be that he has always been modifying the story to how he wants? Everything he mentioned about Luffy was the opposite. It's starting to make sense now about the German 66 comic strip, where the World Economic Journal made them sound worse than they really are. If you want more information about this, I've uploaded an old video about this at the end, so stay tuned. Before I talk about Luffy's potential as a Yonko, Yonko means 4 emperors, and if Luffy was to be the 5th emperor, they'll be known as GOKOU. Yon is 4 in Japanese, and Go is 5, so yeah, the GOKOU. Now a quick reminder of what these emperors are, and is Luffy already one? Bear in mind that the Yonko is not only strong, but they also have strong influences. The Yonko are the 4 most notorious and powerful pirate captains in the world. They are not allied, nor are they strictly enemies of one another. Rather, the 4 prefer to remain independent under most circumstances. These 4 individuals reside within the second half of the Grand Line, known as the New World, exerting an impressive influence and control over dozens of other pirate crews and self-governing islands. They make up one of the 3 great powers. Their strength and influence are such that they live quite literally as though they are emperors, doing mostly as they please. This is almost the same as Luffy's idea of being a pirate king, to have the freedom to sail the seas. Because of their power, the Yonko can declare chosen locations as their own. The mere declaration is often enough to compel others, both marines and pirates alike, to acknowledge and respect the Yonko's authority. When Whitebeard declared the crime-ridden Fisherman Island to be under his control, he immediately ended all pirate attacks on the island as well as his slave trade. These points, we can more or less say that Luffy has unintentionally achieved these points, and most notably, putting Fisherman Island under his control. The newspaper mentioned that Luffy has new alliances, allies in the Fire Tank Pirates, the Sun Pirates, and of course, Germo 66. These are powerful allies indeed, and the icing of the cake is that it mentioned Luffy defeated Big Mom. Clearly we know it didn't turn out that way, but the newspapers or Morgans has made the world see Luffy in a buggy-like way. My thoughts are that Luffy is nowhere near Yonko level in terms of strength-wise, but in terms of gaining influences for where he goes to, and even expanding his alliances, Luffy is on the right path towards it. It does remind me of what Mihawk said. Draco Mihawk said the true power of Luffy was not his physical strength, or his devil fruit, or his haki, but his power to make people his allies so easily. Luffy has an extraordinary gift to recruit allies and make friends despite his rudeness and inability to listen to people's backstories. This gift has manifested in various forms throughout One Piece, such as recruiting crew members who originally find him annoying but won over by his charm in less than a day, making friends with sailors and high-ranking officers of the Navy, stopping a large stubborn whale from killing itself, temporarily recruiting Princess Vivi despite her initial goal to kill Luffy and his crew, swaying towns and islands from hating the Straw Hats to adoring them, melting Bo Hancock's cold heart and becoming the first guy she fell in love with, allowing the Frankie family and the Galila company to join the Straw Hats to rescue Robin and Frankie despite the 3 groups' mistrust towards each other. I have more to say about this. We'll talk more about this when I calm down for the best chapter of the year. As mentioned in the beginning, here's a video I done a couple years ago about the newspapers in One Piece. Enjoy! Hi all. This theory will be about One Piece's connection with comics like Marvel or DC. It won't be about how Luffy is based on Mr. Fantastic, or Chopperman is based on Superman, or the Flamingo is based on Spider-Man, or Nightmare Luffy is based off the Hulk, or Kid is based on Magneto, but something more simpler, Sora. Not Sora the mermaid who possesses long blonde hair and wears a bikini made of clams who appeared in Mermaid Cove in Fisherman Island, but Sora, the character from Zoro Warrior of the Sea. A comic strip published in the World Economic Times. It has been running for a long time, as Vito from the Fire Tank crew has read it for as long as he can remember, and it is popular all across the world. The comic tells the story of Sora, who can walk on water, and his battle against the evil army of Germa 66 with the help of a transforming robot and his pet seagull. The comic is based on the exploits of marine heroes to serve as a propaganda to increase support for the Marines. What is a propaganda, that you might ask? Propaganda is a form of biased communication aimed at promoting or demoting certain views, perceptions, or agendas. The purpose of any propaganda campaign is to shift perceptions that are within the goals and attitude of the propagandist. Therefore, it is important to understand what shift the propagandist is looking for. But what does this got to do with One Piece and its connection with comics? Well, comics like Marvel and DC also use propaganda as well to not promote their comics, but their country's conflicts. Comic books have historically been used as a tool of influence starting during World War II. The United States used these comics increasingly as World War II concluded, and therefore through the conflicts of the 20th century and into the 21st century. Private companies and the US government would develop comic books to address the Korean War, Vietnam War, Cold War, and the War on Terror. Comic books and superheroes even alerted citizens of domestic caution and awareness. Eventually, as the war evolved, comic books publishers aligned and collaborated with the US military. Captain America was created in March 1941 with the explicit purpose of building a support base for American intervention in World War II. There's a very clear ideology behind the Captain America story, in the sense that comics made it very clear what values they considered to be American. The same can be said about Superman. Superman was adapted very heavily to reflect a similar image as Captain America. Here's some examples. It does remind us of the Zoro Warrior of the Sea comics, doesn't it? In the 1990s and the early 2000s, the United States collaborated with DC Comics and UNICEF to educate foreign audiences, especially children, about the dangers of landmines. DC Comics have donated the usage of Superman and Wonder Woman to the Department of Defense and the United Nations in this collaboration initiative. Batman Death of Innocence was published in 1996 parallel to the Superman Landmines comics. DC also unraveled a graphic novel for publication starring Batman and his message about landmines. From the evidence from Zoro Warrior of the Sea, there might have already been a similar situation, and two characters have been evidently seen with this. This includes Sengoku. The most distinctive feature of this uniform is the life-size seagull on top of his cap, as well as Zypher from Film Z was dressed as the hero of justice, which anime fan talk pointed out. First I thought it was based purely on Saiyaman from Dragon Ball Z, but now I believe it's based off Sora. It remains to be seen if any of the Marines joined because of the comic strip. Vito, on the other hand, saw the villains of the comic as an inspiration. But the question is, the big transforming robot that was partnering Sora in the comic, does this being still exist? Was this the influence that Vegapunk needed to create the pacifist? Was this robot a new addition to the comics so the world would accept them? Thanks for watching this theory. Please comment down below, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't.